Hello and welcome to the Creator's Garden. I am called Harpy, and today we will be working on some Transformers Prime fan art. Specifically, we will be doing some Soundwave fan art. So, what I think I'm going to be doing, how I'm going to proceed with this, is for those who might have seen my previous fan art stream where I drew Kane from the Amazing Digital Circus, is the way I did it was that I did some dabbles of very light doodles, sketches type, just very smaller designs, or smaller attempts at drawing him before doing a proper illustration of him. So I think that's more or less how I'm going to approach drawing Soundwave, because for those who are familiar with Transformers, there is a lot of details on those bots. And but yeah, without further ado, we'll go ahead and move on to the main camera. Uh-oh. Is something not working again? What's going on with my stream? I don't know if any of this is getting picked up, but this is very strange. Uh-oh. It says that I'm live, but my things are not. My things are not popping up. My goodness. I apologize. Things are just not going well today. But hello, Kana. Welcome, welcome. Glad you could stop by even for a moment. I will hopefully see you again soon. Okay, I need to refresh a few things. Because YouTube is not wanting to cooperate with me for some reason. Excuse you, where's my chat? Okay, well, I'll go back to the main camera for now. Hopefully you guys can still see that, at the very least. While I try to figure out what in the world is going on with my stream. But yes, right here we have the preliminary sketches that I did to try and get a handle of how to draw Transformers Prime versions of Soundwave. This one was basically the one I did just from memory, just to try and see if I could remember what his general shape language was and everything. And I was really proud of how I did his face right there. Or lack thereof, depending on your view. And then these other blue sketches were after I started looking at proper references for him. Because I really needed to figure out how to simplify as best as I could. Because, as I said, he's got a lot of parts to him. Now, I think I generally have, like, his face down. It's just trying to draw the rest of his body with him that I will still need to work on. Okay, let me just try and see if I can get back into the studio. Because I am supposedly live right now. Okay, let's get chat all set up. Oh, and we have a vote for the maid cafe, so I'll go ahead and switch to that. Oh my goodness. Everything just appears to be laggy on my end right now, so I guess VOD viewers may have to skip forward a little bit, perhaps. I guess that is the beauty if you are watching the VOD, is that you can skip ahead to when there's actually something going on. And also, I failed to mention this while I was explaining my doodles right now, but for the last couple of streams or so, I've been I had my Harpy talons out, but I've done a bit of work in the garden as of late, so that's why I need to put my black gloves back on again. But hopefully we can get that back in order soon enough. Okay. I think I finally have things in order. Which means we can finally get started on the art. Now, I know, like, this isn't usually how Soundwave looks. Especially if you compare this, like, iteration to, like, G1 or, like, basically any other version. They usually look a lot more blue, a lot more blocky. But sometimes my tastes are very predictable, and I can't help but enjoy the cryptid-like design of Transformers Prime Soundwave. Very much Slender Man vibes. And there's plenty of fan art that I've seen depicting him as the Cybertronian cryptid that he is. So right now, I'm just trying to figure out how I want to go about practicing drawing his body. Because I think generally this is the correct shape language that I want to go for. So I think what I'll do is I'll start sketching on the back of this one right here. Or maybe, instead of using pencil, maybe I can just use blue. And that way, it might be easier for you guys to see as well. So for like his head, I'm fairly confident that I generally know what I want. Like I start with the human head, which is easy enough, and then I try to like have a brow line first, so that I can put where his like adornments kind of start. So that goes there, and then there's like a rectangle and a square that kind of goes here, and then there's on the two sides of his head it's like goes here, but then from the middle usually there's like a brighter purple that goes up that way, and so I kind of have to keep that in mind when doing that. And then depending on how like I tilt his head, you'll see like more of the side of his head, and also there's more of like the helmet part here. It kind of comes around like that. And so I think from here it's kind of try to keep it like perpendicular, I suppose, with the direction his face is going. And then I just kind of keep in mind that there's like a little bit of like a purple here, and then I try my best to keep the visor shape more or less what I want. And then there's also this part here that moves along with his head, so kinda mandible-esque almost. So yeah, that's generally how I plan to go about drawing his head, more or less. Now, say we did that. But now the rest of him. This kind of messed me up for a little bit because I'm so used to, you know, the joint into the shoulder being over here, but it's more like it's up here, and it only attaches at that angle. It's a really small like portion up there because he's got like shoulder thingies that kind of go here, and then from this tiny joint up here is where his arm actually pivots. And then now usually his chest is covered because Laserbeak is like docked here, which is where you see more of Laserbeak going like that, more or less. And then you'll see like this little waist here. And then we get to his legs, and they're kind of... How do I describe? He's got like ski foot legs. It's very interesting. And they also bend in an interesting way. And that I have to try and keep in mind. They kind of got like a bird-like silhouette to them, now that I think about it. Which, you know, perfectly goes hand in hand with how his arms are like. Which are a whole other thing that I need to keep in mind because they're so flat. He's got just flat arms. Soundwave, why you do this to me? But yeah, so I think in general, if we want to keep it super simplified, this is more or less what I need to work with. But for the most part, I'm just going to be like messing around a little bit, trying more with like various poses. I might actually, you know, switch to pencil for this. But it's nice to have, you know, at least a sort of baseline that you can see that I'm working with. So I plan on how to go with this is that I start with like a humanoid pose first, and then I figure out how to make it more sound wave afterwards, is my plan. Just basically try to map out where the joints more or less are going to be. They're not going to be perfectly aligned because Soundwave's joints don't completely work like that, but we get a general idea. Joint is at the top of the shoulder pad, I think. Let me just take a quick look at the quick little reference I drew back here. Yeah, so it's like very almost rhombus-like shapes right here. Hello, Ferox. Welcome, welcome. Glad you can make it. Hope you're doing well. Autobots roll out. Yeah. Except we're not working with the Autobots right now. We're working with the Decepticon. Specifically, Soundwave from Transformers Prime. Now, I can't call myself like a huge Transformers fan, but I have dabbled a little bit into, you know, various instances of the lore just so I can try to keep up with those types of conversations, but I am mostly about Transformers Prime since that was the one I actually, like, got invested in. And also just the animation's gorgeous on that show. And speaking of beings from beyond the stars, I also stopped by a friend of mine, Novus, who is currently streaming Guild Wars 2 on Twitch right now. So, if you guys like art and someone who like does gaming streams, I'm sure my friend Novus would appreciate the company as well. In fact, I'm just gonna go ahead and put his name in chat. He streams on Twitch, but I still like to shout him out. He is a star being of sorts, I believe. And he is much more worldly than I am. We have a 50-50 split between pajamas and the maid cafe outfit. I see. If my computer could please just cooperate for once, that would be lovely. Never really got into Guild Wars 2. It's personally not my cup of tea either. From what I understand, it's another type of MMO sort of thing, which I have tried in the past, but not exactly what I'm looking into at the moment. But yes, hopefully I spelled his name correctly. But he's on Twitch. And if you do that, you can tell them that Harpy says hi. Harpy sends their regards. Or the boar princess sends her regards. If you know, you know. Okay, so this would be more like that, and then this would actually be down here, because I'm trying to keep in mind how the arm would be twisted, so I have to really be mindful of which direction the lines would be in. And I think in general, when I do the larger illustration, I will have it with Laserbeak docked, because that is usually how Soundwave is presented with, so. Okay, now I'm forgetting. Is it? I think it's just one, yeah. Just one. It's just a ski foot type thing. Yeah. Okay. Not too bad. Excuse me while I summon Feather King for a moment. Things are just really laggy today, and I'm not sure why. Thank you, Feather King. But yes, to those of you watching the VOD, if you are a Transformers fan, please let me know who is your favorite bot, be it Autobot or Decepticon. Maybe we can get an interesting poll of which side you join. Just purely off aesthetics alone, you know, or based on, you know, your favorite characters. Because I know, like, realistically speaking, we'd all pick, you know, the ones who want to protect Earth and humans and all that, but you know, aesthetics. I know I've already said that one of my favorites is Soundwave, but I also really like Knockout. I know in the previous Transformers Prime art stream, I drew Knockout, at least as the major character, as a centerpiece. I did attempt to doodle Soundwave in the back there, but that's just he is very difficult. So very difficult. And hello, Nara. Welcome. Glad you can make it. Hope you're doing well. And also, how's the audio sounding to everyone? I think it's been behaving mostly well, but you guys let me know. But yeah, just as a quick recap, these are the sort of preliminary sketches I did off stream. Just to sort of get a handle of how to draw Transformers Prime version of Soundwave. And right now, I feel like I've got a general handle of how to draw his head, but would like to try and make sure that I know more or less how to draw his body before deciding on what his pose is going to be for the final piece. During the final piece, I'll probably need to look at the references a lot more, but it's very difficult because a lot of the references have him in very dimly lit spaces, which is great for, you know, accentuating all the glowy bits, but it's really difficult not having him in any sort of bright or neutral lighting where I can actually see his details. Sounds good to me? Okay, that sounds awesome. I'm glad. But also, do we have a three-way split in the ball right now? Why is everything so laggy? Ah, I see. So we have a three-way tie right now between Pajamas, Maid Cafe, and Princess Borb. Well, you know what? We've put on the Pajamas and the Maid Cafe for a little bit. I will go ahead and put on Princess Borb for a little bit. Ta-da! Okay, I realized one that I haven't done yet is a version of Soundwave with the tendrils out. And that's mostly because I couldn't figure out where on his body those are coming from. So let's try and make a pose first, and then I'll go ahead and take a look at some references. This pose might be a little bit interesting because at this rate, his arms like block him so much. It's like if you are not looking at him straight on, you're mostly gonna see arm. I'm not sure he can actually look that far back because his chin things would get in the way. He would not be able to look that far back. So, for those who are unaware, drawing robots is not my forte. I would consider drawing like mechanical beings and building interiors to be part of my weak spots, just because of the amount of angles and like straight lines very much intimidates me. Like, especially when it comes to like buildings and interiors, that's when you really need to know your perspective. Otherwise, it is really easy for something to look just a little bit off. Then it's just like, it's like I know what you're going for, but it's not quite right. The thing that I like about the Transformers Prime type of designs is that they do lean a little bit more into like sort of rounded edges, that they look a little bit more humanoid, which leans into more like, I guess, sort of more natural biological looking lines rather than just pure, you know, almost Lego type, brick type things where it's like, okay, they're just a bunch of blocks that you kind of always need to keep in perspective. Because it's like, humanoids I can do, you know, generally speaking. I feel like I'm fairly, at least, competent with humanoids. So I think somewhere here. Think they're kind of segmented like this. Alright, I'm gonna go take a look at a reference. Oh, do we have... Okay, we have a 4-way tie for everything now. Who's it gonna be? So I'll just put that one up for now, because I think that's the only... No, wait, I haven't done pajamas yet, so... There we go. Alright. No lag on your end? Alright, then it's probably all on my end. But I'm glad it's not laggy for anyone else, because at least that means, you know, the VOD watching experience will be just a tad better. Just a little. But yes, references. And okay. So I think based on the GIF that I'm looking at, they kind of come out from under the chest plate, so... Okay, so let's say chest is here, Bigley head is here, doing this thing. And the chest plate is... kind of got this and then crevice into here, so that the plate is actually just kind of this part, I think. Again, it is a little bit hard to tell when the lighting is so freaking dark. But then it also kind of okay. Like it kind of connects back here, and then so then this area, and I think this, well, this area. So then it kind of comes out from these sides here. I think. If any of you have ever drawn Transformers art, you let me know. Or even just like robot characters in general. Feel free to let me know like what your process is like of how you try to go about drawing them. But also if you got specifically any tips for like Soundwave or Knockout, would be very much appreciated. On the smaller side, so taking a little moment to show them up close. Honestly, I might have enough where I can start thinking about planning out my illustration. At least for the most part. Which honestly lays into the most time-consuming part of the process for me, which is figuring out a pose, figuring out where everything's laid out. So maybe I'll try to thumbnail. Let's see if we can do that. It's been a while since I tried that method. a shortcut while I'm thumbnailing. The idea of a more like skulking or turning around pose. But that would also mean I'd have to take another look at what his back looks like. Inquisitive pose. An idea. Alright. Once again, here's a close-up of the thumbnails. so you guys can get a general idea of the sort of poses I'm going for. I think I have something. Now the question is, can I implement it? There's going to be a decent amount of foreshortening, which I'm kind of hit and miss with, I feel. We'll see how this goes. I'm actually kind of happy with this pose a little bit. I still need to work on this leg here. This is bugging me a little bit, but we'll see. We'll see. A little bit. Be fine. Let's focus on the direction I want the foot to go in first, and then I'll figure out how to make it more like Soundwave. It's a bit more angled so that it's not quite as straight on as I think it is, which means more of the foot would actually be I think with the pose that I gave him, he kind of looks more like a curious bird, just being like, "Ooh, what's this? What is this thing I have found?" Is this something I should bring back to Lord Megatron? so far in terms of preliminary sketching out of the illustration. It's turning out pretty well. I think I might have to go back and take another look at what his legs look like, but other than that, I'm pretty happy with how this is turning out so far. Oops. And this is going to be for when I eventually use alcohol markers to color it, but not just yet, because, you know, I still want to refine this. And honestly, I might do the thing that I did with the cane illustration and just refine the sketch, but go lineless, essentially. So I won't be using like my usual inking pens, and instead just kind of go for more painterly, I suppose. I've been liking doing that. Like, the process of it is like pretty fun for me. So yeah, I think that is what I'll do. What I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna go ahead and take a quick break because it is very warm in the creator's garden. So we are going to get some hydration, get some snacks, do all those sorts of things. Grab yourself some Energon, you know. And we will return. And when we do, we will clean up the sketch. We will look back at our references, see what else we need to fix up. And then we'll finally get into the coloring stages. And until then, we do have the fishing minigame up that you can mess around in. And I'll see you guys in a bit. I am back. Hope everyone had a good break. Hope you got plenty of hydration and snacks. But yeah, as a quick recap for those who just tuned in, we've got some preliminary sketches done on this page to sort of get a feel for what Soundwave's body more or less feels like. I just realized I said the word preliminary a whole lot. Take a sip of water for every time I've said that. Stay hydrated. But I think, yeah, after I did the thumbnailing, I have a general idea of what pose, at least, I wanted to do, which led to this sketch that we have right here. Oh, thank you for the hydrate. Gonna give me some boba tea. You love it? Thank you. But yeah, so while on break, I was thinking about like how I want to go about the lighting and the colors for this, because that's always what brings it together. And I'm thinking I want to try and go for like a light sunset into night type of thing. And so maybe some like orangey backlighting, yellow orangey backlighting. It's very light. But before that, I'm going to take a moment to look over my resources, my references, because I just realized I completely forgot to put Laserbeak on his chest. That's kind of important. This is the thing with having so many details, is that once you start overlapping so many of them, it is very difficult to keep track. Thanks. Let's see what I'm missing. Okay. Interesting. So the kinda. Well, pajamas is winning. Okay. We'll switch to that if we haven't already. Okay. Okay. So there's actually a little glowing area here. And this is actually segmented into two parts. So it's actually more like this. Actually, this kind of goes into here. Let me just double check this. His design is just so weird, man. But that's also why I love it so much. Actually, the backs of his thighs are kind of more triangle-ish. Or not the thighs, the calves. Backs of the calves are kind of more triangle-ish. Is Borbati tiny Borbs? Is it to set an example for the others? No, they're They're just tapioca pearls shaped like borbs. I am not drinking my borbs. They are too precious. I would never drink my borbs. Alright. But I think I might have what I need. I just need to clean up a couple places and then I can just kind of dive right into the coloring. With my backing, of course. We are not going to forget the backing. That is what this is for. And for those who are wondering, this is watercolor paper. It's just some cheap, thick watercolor paper because it tends to soak the alcohol ink fairly well. I do have like a plastic liner, but the problem with plastic liner and thin sheets of paper like this is that when I apply the ink, it tends to spread on the plastic and thus go into parts of the page that I really don't want it to. And also, sometimes when it like stains the plastic, it'll end up reactivating, and so I'll get splotches of color in places that I didn't want it to. Let's see, what's a good example? A lot of drawings in here. This sketchbook is actually almost done. Okay, I can't find a good one right now, but it has happened. But yeah, so what I'm gonna try to do is try to get all my brightest colors out here first. Here. Just being very loose with it. Too concerned or precious about it. Because the idea is that eventually I'll kind of start refining it by the time I get into the darker colors. But it is nice to have a decent look of where my lighting source is coming from first. Could still be setting an example for them. An example for what? I'm not gonna turn them into tapioca borbs. But yes, no leaking. Exactly, yeah. But now here comes the interesting part, where I'm going to slowly darken the yellow as much as I can, and then I might have to get into some light greens so that I can eventually blend it into the blues that I want. I don't know, make them behave. just the base coat, so I don't have to worry too much about it covering absolutely everything, but still a little. Not great. That's a decent blocking at least. Why is this on top chat? It should be on live chat. Jelly borbs. Let's not get into jelly borbs. Oh, that would raise a whole lot of unwanted questions. Back after tech issues, how goes the drawing? It is going fairly well. Speaking of tech issues, as previously mentioned, we've done all the preliminary. I keep saying preliminary. We've done all the sketches, all the dabbles, I suppose. And we did a little bit of thumbnailing before eventually sketching out the starting of this illustration right here. And now we're going to attempt to apply some coloring to it. A very, very messy process currently, but we're getting there. Did Alden make the slime boards? Don't know, I'm just projecting slime jelly boards as a fun treat. Thinking of treats, I thought of a cereal called Puffins. Cinnamon cereal. It tastes so good. I never heard of that one, if that's an actual cereal. And just remember the time you fished so much you got silent. You did. But that's why you're still top of the fishing leaderboard. I almost said leaderboard. Where is my mind today? I think the heat is melting it. Anyways, I'm trying to go through my purples, see if there's perhaps one that I should be using in this particular instance. You are indeed the leaderboard. It cannot be denied. But in general, I am the leaderboard. Because I am the princess of the borbs. As you can see. Perfect way to block out the glowy bits. That's about all of them, more or less. not too bad, I don't think, so far. thinking I like the look of the reflection so far. This one I need to use. Oh yeah, definitely need to use that one because I overfilled it. Don't mind this as an undercoating. Because it's light enough where I should be able to just cover it up. family. Welcome, welcome. Glad you can make it. Do I do requests? Not usually, no. This is more just of, if you're here to enjoy the art, then you can just, sit back, relax type of thing. But there's plenty of, little chat commands that you can play around with if you'd like. We got a fishing minigame over here. We got Borbs you can summon. And also thank you for the hydrate, Kana. But yeah, today we're just focusing on Transformers Prime Soundwave. Because, normally I don't draw a whole lot of, robotic characters. And so, I find it very challenging personally. So, a lot of it is just trying to figure out how to approach these types of characters. But, so far I think it's been going well. We've been laying out the groundwork for the colors, and I think it's mostly coming together. At the very least, at the moment, I like how Soundwave just kind of stands out a little bit. He's going to stand out slightly less once I add more darker colors in, but... hopefully, it'll all come together. At least, that is the hope. OBS, please behave. Gotta water the Princess Harpy. Just discovered you apparently don't own a pencil sharpener. Well, you might want to get one of those. If you have pencils, generally you want a pencil sharpener. Unless you have a mechanical pencil, in which case, you do you. make some OBS buns, set an example. You have a gallon tub of colored pencils. Clearly, I do not use them often. The dust I've stirred up is making me sneeze. You're using scissors to sharpen. Please do not do that. For those listening, do not do that. That is dangerous. Slowly getting into the reds and purples back here. Which again is great for contrast. A sound wave at the center right here. Sardonyx to help blend it a little. think I might get some more blue, actually. There's pastel, yeah. You got a huge pencil fish. Nice. Prismacolor me, Westcott. But I think I am almost done with this piece. Almost. Okay. I think we're finally starting to see it come together. Once this is done, I think I will be calling stream. So I'd like to thank everyone who joined me on stream today. Despite all the technological hiccups we had at the beginning, I think this went pretty well. And despite all the color bashing that I was kind of doing at the beginning, it seems we've managed to somehow fumble our way into a pretty decent picture of Soundwave. So I think at the very least the colors came out pretty decently. Loving the colors, it's gorgeous, thank you. So yeah, this is the finished piece. And once again, I'd like to thank you all for joining me, whether you were in chat or watching the VOD later on. I appreciate you very much. And we will be doing more art on Friday. I feel like I might have an idea in mind, but we'll see how it goes. If you guys have an idea of what you'd like to see for next stream, or even just a future stream in general, you can try and either leave your ideas in the comments below, or even go to the community tab, where you can take a look at some of the polls, because who knows, maybe I've already put up a post asking for feedback. Because sometimes I do that. And eventually, as soon as I get more sketches ready to go, I will eventually resume working on my Snapdragon Club comic on streams. Because currently I am in the midst of working on The Actress's Tale. It has been at the tail end of the story for a very long time. Or at least it feels like a long time. But the goal, I think, for the time being, is that I try to finish Actress's Tale by at least the end of the year, if not by the end of October. But again, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, if you enjoy my art and want to see more, I hope you consider leaving a like, a comment, and subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And if you have already subscribed, thank you very much. And if you're feeling super duper generous, we do have the Ko-fi link right up there, where you can buy me a boba. You can become a visitor of Sanctus and get a borb attributed to your name. They show up at the beginning of every stream. And also, we do have stickers available in the Ko-fi shop, including of my Princess Borb form and my Harpy form in various outfits. We also have stickers of some of the main characters from my comic, the Snapdragon Club. Which, if you are interested in a fantasy setting where there are monsters and fae, and just having a general good time, nothing too deep usually, then I hope you consider giving it a look. It's available to read on Tumblr via the links I have on my channel page, or you could take a look at the slideshow and comic dub versions that I have available as a playlist under the Snapdragon Club series. That's where you can see the entirety of all the finished comics so far. Encase yourself in stickers, mummification. But yeah, with that being said, thank you all for joining me, and I hope to see you guys next stream. So see you then. Bye. Bye.